When the B10A5 first hit showrooms last year, it was met with some mixed reviews. People really weren't quite sure what to make of this car. They weren't sure of its design. They really didn't like the technology for the interior, and as we found out over the past 12 months, technology and software has been a bit of a weak spot for Audi, but they're not the only ones in the Volkswagen and Audi family that have had their share of issues. Well, to make up for it, with the 2026 model year, there are some significant changes. Dare I say maybe an overhaul. It's too early to call this a mid-cycle refresh, but that might be exactly what this car is and exactly what the A5 needed to be a true replacement for the B9.5. In today's video, we're going to go over what is new for the 2026 A5 across all three trims, because Audi has made some major improvements for the interior that makes this car really truly feel like a luxury sedan. Now, before we dive into this video, I want to give a huge shout and thank you to Audi of Peabody in Peabody, Massachusetts for letting come down here to check out this new 2026 A5 Sportback. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Audi inventory. So as always, let's begin with that pricing and introduce the model we'll be taking a look at today. This is the 2026 Audi A5 Premium Plus, the mid-tier trim for this model year, much like we saw last year for 2025, coming in at just below $53,000. Now, for those of you wondering, why aren't we taking a look at a Prestige? Because that had to have changed too, and it did. There's some extra features for the Prestige that makes this car feel really upscale, but the Premium Plus is going to be a better ambassador to go over what is new for the 2026 model. Now, as you take a look at the exterior, nothing really has changed here from one model year to the next, outside the fact that we do have the black optic package. And the black optic package makes this A5 kind of look like an S5. And before we dive into what this black optic package gives us, we also receive the S Sport suspension that is available and is actually equipped on our model today, giving us a sportier appeal to this sedan. So if you are someone looking to get frisky on a winding back road, you can now do that here with the A5. And more importantly, there's some features for the interior that will even amplify the driving experience even further. Now, as you take a look up front, outside the fact we have the black optic package, nothing changes here. We are going to have the LED headlights, which has really grown on me here. I gotta say, this front fascia is starting to grow on me. It does look modern, it looks kind of cool, and we have the aggressive body lines on the hood. I really like that touch. Now, for the grille itself, we have the anthracite badging. That does carry over from last year, but you are going to have this somewhat mesh grille design, giving us that sportier appearance. Then for the lower portion of the front bumper, here we have the gloss black trim outlining the air takes, so you want to have that better airflow and aerodynamics. We got that here with the A5 Sportback, and that extends to where we have some honeycomb mesh grille here, which isn't functional, but gives us a small taste of what we had with the B9.5. So really nice looking car up front. But then as you make our way over to the side profile, this is where we're going to notice some changes, because we have the 19-inch alloy wheels available through the black optic package, and they will be wrapped in run flat tires. What I like here is that we have a dual color setup here with them gloss black trim. Then we have blacked out badging on the center caps. Really, really nice. Now, unfortunately, we don't have gloss black side mirror caps with the black optic package. That would make this car look even more sinister, but we are going to receive blind spot detection for added safety and turn signal indicators. Also, we have some gloss black trim for the door handles. Now, as you make your way around to the back, again, we have the anthracite badging, so again, carried over from last year. We have the light bar that runs the length of the rear fascia, and then through the black optic package, here we have the dark chrome dual exhaust outlets, which look really nice here on this car. Nice lower profile appearance for this A5. So if you like the design of this sedan or hatchback, whatever you want to call it, this is going to be the year to do it, because you have the sportier appearance of the black optic package, then also the great features for the interior, making this car very, very appealing. Powering the 2026 Audi A5 is going to be a familiar sight. A 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 268 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It will be paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. This goes unchanged for the 2026 model year, aside from the fact we do have the S Sport suspension available for this model, which should pair up with this engine really, really nicely. Now, if you remember my review last year, I like the way this car handled, I like the way it performed. I felt that with this powertrain, with this platform, more important, the PPC platform, it was a better pairing with this sedan than the Q5. So if you're someone who's looking for an agile driving experience, but also a car that feels refined, the A5 is going to be the better choice, in my opinion, over the Q5 for this model year. Then when it pertains to fuel economy, you're looking at right on 22 miles per gallon in the city and 32 miles per gallon on the highway. Not too bad considering we don't have a hybrid powertrain here. It's not even a mild hybrid either. So to get that fuel range, especially right now in 2026, that's pretty important. Hopping inside the 2026 Audi A5 Sportback, this is where the changes are significant from top to bottom. It's not just what you see visually with the dashboard, new infotainment system, new digital gauge cluster. It's the seats, and also we have a dash cam now, and that is available for all three trims. So let's begin with the easy stuff and then work our way through the packages and the features that we have here for this car. So with this being a Premium Plus, the changes are amplified even more. And our model has the warm weather package, giving us heated and ventilated leather sports seats for both the driver and passenger. As expected, both sides are going to have power adjustability. Now, with this package, you can pair that up with the S Sport suspension now available for the A5, and you're going to have a very fun handling car. And with these seats, you'll be nice and snug, and you'll feel very connected to this sedan, more importantly. Also, through the warm weather package, we received the Bang & Olufsen front headrest speakers, which is really nice. It will amplify the audio of your favorite music. Now, taking a look in front of you, whether you're in the driver's seat or passenger seat, through the technology package, you now have a head-up display with traffic sign recognition, digital speedometer, and great to see because it was only available on the Prestige last year. But on the passenger side, you now have a passenger display. So now we have a vehicle that feels a bit more tech-focused for a mid-tier trim, feels much more upscale. But we're just getting started. Because here we have our leather-wrapped steering wheel, which feels really nice in the hands. Aggressive 10 and 2 and firm 9 and 3 grips, paddle shifters to rotate the gears ourselves. But what do you notice now? We have scroll wheels on the steering wheel. They are back. Yes, they are back. So great to see. 2025, they removed them for the B10 generation, and they've been brought back for 2026. And this begins the transition back to what we had out of the B9.5. So with the scroll wheels, we can raise and lower the volume. We can scroll through information. But with the digital gauge cluster, now we have layouts. That is right, we have layouts now, much like we saw a few years ago, giving us a map display. We didn't have that for the 2025 model. Also, I think more importantly too is that the resolution has been improved. You don't have a black screen anymore. You have this gray look, which we saw first in the Q3. The Q3 was the beginning of this transition back to what Audi has always excelled at. So from here, you're going to have three different layouts. You have your regular information layout, but then also you have your lane centering, your safety systems, and then of course your navigation map. And just, this feels like the old Audi virtual cockpit that we all knew and loved. But then also, of course, when you do go to your regular information tab, here you can scroll through a variety of information such as your fuel economy statistics, your short and long-term range when it comes to the fuel economy, tire pressure monitoring system. It is all right here. And it just gives you a much more connected feel to this car and reminds you of what Audi used to be a couple of years ago. Now then, of course, on the right side here, you have your radio displays. You can scroll through different radio stations and obviously lower and raise that volume. Love to see it. Now we have this new infotainment system we got to talk about. So if you remember, I was not a huge fan of the 2025 A5 and Q5 with the head unit because it was a major difference, a drastic change compared to the older MMI user software. But here we have a more traditional layout. Yes, it's still Android-based, but I can live with this now that they have changed this up. So at the bottom of the screen, that hasn't changed. You have your climate control settings, your AC, front and rear defrosters, fan speed, fan direction. Also your dual zone climate control up front. Then your heated and ventilated front seats. So very straightforward, and there will be a menu where you can control the front and rear climate controls. So everything's going to be right here within arm's reach. On the left side of the screen will be quick access icons for your home screen, then your navigation, your radio, your Bluetooth. Then you also have your vehicle settings. And we have a lot to discuss here with the vehicle settings because it's not just the drive modes. We now have an ambient mode as well for this car, much like we saw with Volkswagen with the SEL R-Line Turbo. So you are going to have a balanced, dynamic, comfort, and individual mode. Also from this display, you can adjust the interior and exterior lighting, your service, and then you have your More tab for vehicle settings. And lastly, you have all your widgets in place, which I do like to see. Again, it reminds me what we had from the older MMI software. Here you have widgets for your navigation, radio, Sirius XM, phone, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So we have smartphone connectivity. Then you have your vehicle, driver assistance, legal notes, etc. But the one thing I want to dive into today is experiences. So through experiences, this will adjust ambient lighting. This will adjust your climate control. Things that we have seen from Audi and from the Volkswagen Audi family before, but this is new for the A5. And through this, you're going to have 3 different modes to work through. So relaxing, balancing, and stimulating. Now, unfortunately, with the A5, you don't have massaging seats. But through these experience modes, you'll be able to adjust the massaging seats if you have, say, an S5 or SQ5. So again, everything's about the driving experience, which I really like here. Now, when placing the A5 in reverse, this is not going to be a major change for the Premium Plus, but the top view angle is now standard on the Premium. And then if you go with the Prestige, you get a 3D view. For a vehicle that is a luxury sedan, a luxury sportback, whatever you want to call it, these are features that you demand, that you want to see in this market. So Audi is definitely listening to their customers here, and I like having this visibility when you are parking on city streets or parking in a garage. Now, mostly for the rest of the interior, everything carries over. So you're going to notice your wireless phone charging pad, 2 USB-C inputs, a 12-volt outlet. Then for the center console itself, a lot of gloss black trim with your drive mode selector, auto start stop, and your traction control on and off. You have a physical volume knob. Then also a push button start, which I think I've already gone over this in this video. We do have a remote start now for the A5 and Q5. And that was one thing a lot of people were missing for this generation because other rivals were offering that. So Audi now provides it for the 2026 model. You're going to have more buttons here for your park assist features and your safety systems, then electronic parking brake, then you have, of course, your gear selector, 2 cup holders. Then for the center storage compartment, enough room for an additional smartphone or wallet. And rounding out the front seating area above will be that panoramic sunroof, which brings in a lot of natural light to the interior. Briefly taking a look at the second row, obviously with this being the same generation as last year, technically a carryover model, interior dimensions are going to be the exact same. Even with the panoramic sunroof, I don't think tall passengers will be hitting their head on the headliner. Obviously, we do not have heated outboard seats with this being a Premium Plus, but we are going to have climate control for the back. That way, during those cold winter months or warm summer months, you can be nice and comfortable. There will be 2 center mounted air vents, 2 USB-C outlets. Also, some of you have probably already seen, we have the rear sunshades to block out the haters and block out that sunlight if you are back here on your laptops or tablets. And then to round out the second row seating area, you are going to receive a center armrest with 2 cup holders. And then returning to the rear fascia to take a look at the cargo area for the 2026 Audi A5 Sportback. Just like we saw last year, you are going to receive a power trunk or liftgate. And inside behind the second row seats, you are going to receive right around 22.5 cubic feet of room. So dimensions are not going to change from one model year to the next. Unfortunately though, just like we saw last year, no spare tire beneath the floor mat. So definitely keep that in mind. So guys, let me know what you think here about the all-new 2026 Audi A5. I am going to call it all new because of what we have for the interior. Do these packages, do these tech upgrades improve this car overall, making it possibly a pick in this class, or does Audi still need to make some changes to perfect this model? Let me know in the comment section below. But guys, once again, thanks so much for watching, take care, and I will see you guys next time.